Let's have some fun.
Hey, Bear. Holy moly.
I'm gonna throw something at
You
you.
got 5 more minutes if you need to go to the bathroom.
It's a shorter commute from down here.
It's a travel time.
Yeah.
It's a travel time.
Okay, this is 2 weeks worth. All right, so we got a lot to get through.
I didn't know we had candy bars, man. I brought them.
Just be prepared.
We were out.
Everybody pay attention.
Your masks.
Yeah.
Lori Ahi, Nate Bear,
Saw him.
Oh,
On the creek.
There.
Charlie Bagg, Les Bailey. Les Bailey still just making checks. Katrina Benton, Matthew Becks.
Katrina Benson's market leader right now. And, oh, that was a really crappy throw. I'm
I was
shy.
a minute that for me.
Get your name.
You probably got a couple comments. I'll take yours.
It's your mindset.
I know.
Shane Blattler, Marcy Bouchard, Victoria Brink a couple times, Dave Brown, Hillary Klebish, Lorna Cochran, Kristen Cole, Kai Coleman, Lisa Connor, Annalise Cooper, and with 3.3 million closed this last week or 2 weeks, Kevin Cross.
Yeah, not bad.
Mary Jo, Jeff Davis.
Yeah, I know, right?
Right here.
Yeah.
Ross.
His name will come.
Yeah.
Look at his shirt. This moment in the sun.
Ron Day, Steve Day, Brent Dewan, Matt Dimmick, Kira Dreyer, Chris Drusdo.
Okay, all right.
Will you get your overhand back?
Overhand's back.
Please. Ed Erickson, Jana, Patty Kapinski, Kelly Harris,
I already had one shattering, earth-shattering moment this morning. We don't need another one.
Blake Hayden, Ben Hornack. He likes to go by BJ or Benjamin. BJ Hornack, Vicky Hudson, Debbie Hewlin. First,
Debbie.
was that-
No, I don't think it's her first, but it's still in the beginning.
Patrick, Dennis James, Jerry Jeffrey, Ryan Johnston, Tim Kelly, Rob King, Michael King, Paul Leishman, July Leslie, Christina Leon, Valisa, Kibby,
I didn't hurt her.
Kibby Lucas,
Kibby.
Ryan Lucas, Amy Matthew Hornack, Vanessa Malarby, couple checks. Is that a middle name? Okay. Gotcha. Christy Mock, Green Moore, Green Years, Debbie Mooma, Stephen Ollendorf, Stephanie Ollendorf, Diet Owen, Fred Owen, Abigail Owen.
Gary Parker.
Where's your catch?
You are off.
I'm off.
Linwood Parker. You ducked right back. Dude, John Clark, Melanie Savage.
Everyone's scared now.
Kerry Perkins, Clint Peterson, Dan Potts, Rudy Radford, Chris Rakoff, Jonathan Rodriguez, Michael Schwartz, Ryan Sherbert, Stuart Smith, Liz Spice, Jennifer Stalka, Lenny Stapley, Derek Suter, Jeff Stussel,
Eric Tyne,
Ryan Thompson, Jeremy Tompkins, Jason Trout, Kristen Van Lee, Dar Walden, Denny Wood, and Heather Love.
I was right there. Okay, so we've got, gosh, a ton of stuff to get through today. Number one, Miss Malin is here as always, and she has a quick update on home warranties that we want to give you. So you're on, Missy.
Miss.
New brochure.
Like, it's actually important information. Yes. Sorry, I'm
There-
getting right.
Yes, feel free
No,
to.
no, no.
She was standing right in front of her tumor. Go ahead.
There's no actual product change. Everything is pretty much staying the same as far as the product itself. We're not taking anything away. However, for like the first time in a decade or so, there is a price increase. So the base price is no longer $390, it's now $405, so a whopping $15 is all that has changed. However, any of your old brochures that you do have, please recycle them and use the new ones.
And you have a big box of new ones.
And I have a very large box of new ones. For
Yes.
any of you who prefer to have them in your office versus upstairs on the 5th floor, you can have them now
Yeah.
or as we
Grab some when you're
get
done.
through the.
Absolutely. I just grabbed Awesome. Thank you, Malin, for everything and for continuing to keep us out of trouble.
Butchie has a
I have a
question.
question.
Yes.
Yeah, Malin, would you like to kind of expound for just a minute on what you and I were just talking about regarding the breast club? You want to do that, Jen? Is that
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Yeah.
It has been brought to my attention, and I'm sure any of you that, hopefully none of you in here, but any of you that actually do still use HWA, they're paying a $70, to the best of my knowledge, they're paying a $70 per transaction to the agent or to the licensee.
Do you remember when that used to happen several years ago?
So evidently they're still doing it. There is a form that you are supposed to fill out for that service. Basically, you're to go to the house, get model numbers, serial numbers, whether it be for the furnace, the appliances. And I'm sure that a lot of folks are passing that over to the homeowners to do that, but it does still violate RESPA. They're getting away with it right now. There's no actual law saying that they can't. However, there is a class action lawsuit going on in the lower Florida state with some of the largest homeowners companies in the nation that are tied up in that. HSA has chosen not to be involved and has done away with paying that $60 per transaction. It went to the brokers. The brokers had a choice of disbursing it to you or not, whether they have to accept it. It's up to the broker. That was kind of sort of more legal because everything that's paid towards the transaction has to go through your broker. However, that's not the case. You guys are not getting those funds. They're being paid directly to the agent. So be aware of it. It's, again, there's not a law yet, but it is at the Senate and the House, and they're kind of ruling on that right now. So they're arguing that it's not a HUD item because it's an option. Where that lays out, we don't know yet. We just chose not to do that. We made agreements with our brokerages and do it based on marketing and access, and we try to stay within the rules and laws of us. That is, I try to stay within the rules and laws of RESPA. You know, it was fine. And hopefully to keep it, you know, a little bit less confusing and not really putting any extra work on you guys. I don't need serial numbers. This company does not penalize the homeowners based on the age of the appliances or systems that are in the house. So if you've got a 30-year-old house or a 2-year-old house, doesn't matter, we're going to cover it.
Really, really strenuously, if that's a strong enough word, advise you to not move the direction of anything that gets you payment for a service directly from a vendor. You are exposing yourself and us to a, it's very gray. We don't like the world of gray. There's enough gray in real estate just because real estate can be gray. It just is what it is. So let's be real careful. And if you have any questions on that, just go talk to Butch. I ran it past him, and he'll be glad to sit and share with you our thoughts on that. So, any thoughts, questions? Okay, Recruit Select. Who is taking Recruit Select April 10th and 11th? Who is signed up for Recruit Select April 10th and 11th? If you have not registered, we are cutting off registration on Friday because we have to order materials. So if you have not registered and you're taking it, you need to take it or get signed up, right? Like as soon as this is over. If you are intending to hire or build a team or do anything, even an assistant, even a transaction coordinator, you have got to take Recruit Select. So Matt Fedek is coming in to teach that for us. It is absolutely imperative that you take it. David sent me something earlier today. Do you want to share a little bit?
I actually was just going to ask you what the initial investment is on that.
Sure. The cost is $285. If you have taken the class before and you have your materials, you can audit it for $100. If you've taken the full 2-day Recruit Select before, bring your materials back and you can audit it for $100. But if you've never taken it, $285. Understand that once you do that, you now have access to ordering your own AVAs. You'll be able, you don't have to come to me to get it done anymore. You'll have your own login, your own account. You know, you can send AVAs to potential team members, anybody after that. So there's definitely a ton of value in it. Do you have the tweet that came across this morning on your phone that you can read?
And I don't know where in the country it's going on.
Atlanta. Seth Campbell and Sean Rawls are teaching Recruit Select in Atlanta together right now.
And so there's folks online just like posting up their little ahas, and one caught my eye this morning, and because I knew we were going to mention that we're running close on registration, and somebody in the class, Sean Rawls and Seth, if you can sell 4.6 million in volume and are not a millionaire, you have a hiring problem, not a lead problem.
Let that kind of sink in for a minute. 4.6 million in volume in a year. If you can do 4.6 million volume in a year, and they're saying you're not a millionaire, that means you don't have a leads issue. You have an issue hiring and identifying talent. And we can all agree that while we may be amazing entrepreneurs and wonderful vision casters and have great ideas and wonderful salespeople, most of us did not get a bachelor's degree in human resources. And we don't know how to hire, we don't know how to retain, and we don't know how to find talent. I mean, one of the questions we get all the time is, well, where do I look? How do I find someone? You know, what am I going to do? So this class definitely is a must take if you are considering any sort of administrative or sales help over the next really year, I would think.
Well, it's really eye-opening for those of us that have been in the game for a little while, and we've consistently been doing over 4.6 million. It's like, missed the boat on that one. Should have invested in that.
But you can jump back on it as it comes back around. That's a nice thing.
Plus, if you go back and for another time, you get all the answers in the book, so you can be the smart person.
That's why you take
That's like every fourth time going through.
Man, I'm a remedial student. Still working on it.
Okay, so Recruit Select Seller Mastery is in Eagle River from 1 to 4 on Thursday. For anybody who wants to take that class, you can just drive out to the Eagle River office. It's a much better day for a drive than it was yesterday out there. So I'll be teaching that. For anybody who's not familiar, the Eagle River office, the library is right next door in the park, just across the parking lot. And at the back hallway, there's a really nice, it's actually a really nice community room where we teach classes there. So you are welcome to join us for that class. Seller Mastery, guys, listings are, I cannot overstate the importance of listings right now. Does anybody feel that in the market? Are you guys sensing it? What are you feeling? Why is it important to have listings right now?
Because they sell.
Good. Well, I mean, you could be sitting at home on a Saturday and get the offers showing up, and not out in the 18 inches of snow showing property, right? And people are lining up. Remember the ticket scalper analogy I've given? Does everybody remember that one?
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber,
That's
you know.
I know I'd be the first one to, try to get that.
Matt Bex would be at the front of the line fighting everybody off.
It's really not that surprising.
So, I mean, if you have listings right now, you absolutely control the market. I'm trying to picture Matt Bex at a Justin Bieber concert, and I just lost my entire train.
Bieber fever.
Listings, listings, listings. I can't even tell you how important it is to have the listings. So if you're concerned about your objection handlers, how do we get the listings? How do we retain the listings? How do we sell the listings? How do we bulletproof the deals and keep the deals together? That's what this class is about, because the truth is you can get a house on the market, you can get it in contract, keeping it together is a whole nother story. I think we can all agree those can be the challenges. So I'm excited about this class. It's fun to get to look at listings from a whole new perspective again, what it used to be. Yes, sir?
Do we need to sign up for that or just go?
If you would sign up at Selena at the front desk, that would be awesome.
What time's it at?
1 to 4 in Eagle River. Absolutely. Anything else on the training calendar, eEdge, or anything that I'm missing that we need to highlight?
BJ is teaching eEdge now. We're doing one class per month. It's a 2-hour class. The first hour will be whatever the topic is. And so we don't care if you show up for the first hour or the second hour or both hours. And then the second hour will always be Q&A. We're only doing one per month, and it's going to rotate between Anchorage, Eagle River, and the Valley. And yes, they're all on the calendars, both of them. So show up if you have eEdge questions. And BJ is the one who's teaching it because he is the new ambassador.
BJ. Remember he was new agent training like a year and a half ago.
Right? And he's a capper
And
and
he's yeah, he's capping.
And his techno
Doing well.
geek level is like way up there, so pretty
but he
proud.
does speak English.
Jen, do you know the next class, what the next class is?
It's on the training calendar. I believe it's the 3rd week, yeah.
April 17th.
Mhm.
Yep. And that being said, you know, we've been talking about Shayna joining us for, I don't know, a couple months now. And then it finally happened. So do you mind just giving a quick recap of kind of what your last 2 weeks have been like and what kind of excitement's going on, just so everybody that's not in the program knows what's happening?
Yeah, it's been crazy, great. We started our last week out in Wasilla, started our first training program. We have 7 people out there in that group. The exciting part of that group for me is that of the 6 of the 7 people are teams. So I have 2 large teams out there, so I'm able to kind of work how that's going to work in really well with the training. So we started that, we're running that Wednesday and Thursday, 5 to 7 in the Valley through May 2nd.
Can you just share what happened on their first day of calls?
Oh yeah, this was great. So anybody who's taken Bold, anybody who's been here long enough knows, you know, you're in the class and the instructor says, okay, we're going to read these scripts, and everybody reads the scripts and they sound kind of ridiculous. And I say, okay, now we're going to make some calls. And
everybody has to go to the bathroom.
I need to go. And they're, you know, sweating and they're, you know, who am I going to call? And, you know, everybody wants to leave the room. And so, you know, I've been there, done that. The first day I'm like, you know, we're calling our sphere. Call your mom. Call your boyfriend. Call your best friend. You need to communicate these things. So we had 6 people in the class. 1 of them wasn't licensed, so she couldn't make any calls. 5 people that made calls, literally mom, mom-in-law, best friend. 3 leads. 1 from a mother-in-law, 1 from a husband. That wasn't going to be pretty enough. And then the other one, I think, from, you know, a best friend or something. But it was pretty amazing how I said, I need you to call 3 people. And of 5 people making 3 calls, 3 leads came from their family.
What's the message there, though?
The message there is that we don't tell people what we do. We're somehow ashamed of that. We're somehow, and Chris Druzda said that to Annalise. You know, she was talking about asking for business, and he just said, are you ashamed of what you do? And I think that is the huge message, and that was what we talked about this morning in our, we started this morning in Anchorage at 9 o'clock, just our little introduction section. And I think that's a huge thing to overcome, that people, we're somehow embarrassed of what we do. If somebody says to you, Jen, who did your hair? You go, oh, and you send everybody her way. So why wouldn't we expect that from everybody we know? And why don't we tell people? Why is it that our neighbor's house goes on the market and they say they didn't even know that you were a realtor? So I think that, to me, even just after the first class, was a huge thing to overcome, to give people, you know, we're not ashamed of what we do. And there's no reason why we wouldn't tell people that. So, yeah, that was very exciting. Wasilla was very exciting last week. So we're doing Anchorage now. Mondays from 11:30 to 1:30 we'll be in here. 9 to 11 Tuesday mornings, running right into the sales meeting, and got a big group in Anchorage on the 2nd.
Yes, sir.
Hey Jennifer, so anyhow, it goes with some stuff I've heard in these classes before. We've had an empty living room for years, and we finally did this. And my wife actually let me spend this money to buy these other couches. I mean, they're beautiful. And I was thinking, I think the only reason she did that is she sees a check once in a while come in from here. Otherwise, I don't think she let me do it.
She wouldn't have let you if she didn't see you bringing in some commission checks.
No.
Well, there you go. See, it funds your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you ask them to move to business?
You know we
Awesome. So super excited about our new agent training program, launch coaching. I think it's going to be amazing. If you have friends or anyone that's getting into the business, we now have a really incredible. I honestly think I don't see anything else like it in the industry. I can't find a comparable program. We've got a lot of companies with mentors or agents who are running a business and are teaching, you know, on the side or to help out or because they're passionate about it. but they're still running a business, you know, but they don't, there's nowhere that has an exclusive person who is dedicated to the success of our new agents. So we're gonna be tracking numbers, we're super excited about that. Tracking numbers and being able to tell you guys this is what we're doing. And oh, by the way, if the new ones can do it, why can't you? So I think it's gonna be awesome accountability. Okay, Allison, Joe, what am I missing in terms of the training calendar before we launch into anything else? I don't wanna.
April 11th, EA Forum, 1 to 2:30.
1 to 2:30, the Executive Assistant Forum that Allison runs quarterly. If you have an EA, that is a great place for them to, actually they must be there. And so this will be the second one, and then anything they need to bring specifically?
We are going to have, for sure, I've got confirmations from Janice Peterson and Christy Hudson as well to discuss the changes to the HUD settlement that are coming up, what the implications are going to be, and what Christy's going to focus on as well is any upcoming changes to finances and how to reduce errors on HUD. How we can better communicate with our lenders to make sure that the HUDs are as clean as possible the first time. Knowing that one of the implications of the changes coming is the 3-day reset for any change, regardless of what it is. That's one that's been proposed. We don't have total final details. We're going to find out a lot, hopefully, from Janice and Christy. But these are things that will likely start possibly as early as I think June 1st, but definitely January 1st. It's going to really change how your business is run. This is where things like bulletproofing your transaction is going to be imperative, because every time there's a change to anything, it's a new 3 days. They're talking about having to have confirmation from all parties involved that they received that item. At one point, they were bandying around the idea of certified mail. So, you know, as soon as we get the Postal Service involved in certified mail, it's going to slow our process down.
Everyone's heart just completely.
So we are doing our very best to make sure that we get ahead of any changes so that once we know what's coming down the pike, we can go ahead and start implementing processes, having those in place so that our level of service just continues to increase, so that your customer service for your clients just continues to increase. And if we can build that into your systems through my access of your admins and EAs, I think all the better for everyone.
If we're our own EAs, can we come? Just change your
It's 1 to 2:30. We found that an hour probably wasn't enough. It's 1 to 2:30, and I'll have lunch brought in for them. Oh, here.
When was it?
April the 11th.
Is that the same day we're doing with We have more rooms. We have plenty of rooms. Yeah.
Yep. Depends on the number of people that we get.
We have that large conference room upstairs where we can fit. We typically have more than one class going on at any given time during here. So thankfully, that's a nice thing. We have some space for it. So, okay. So that's all that I've got on that. All right. So I want to dive into this, and then I also have an announcement. So if you have to leave early, I would really prefer that you not leave early today, because I've definitely got something super important to go over with you guys at the end. But I wanted to start back into 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. So, you guys, why do we study personal growth?
Your business grows to the extent that you do.
Yeah, your business grows to the extent that you do, right? If you are not growing and thriving as a person, your business is not going to grow and thrive. Has anybody ever felt that? Like you get in the middle of a tough life situation, or things are just screwy at home, or you're just hitting walls everywhere, and you feel it in your business as well because it shows up. You understand you're a whole unit, right? Everything is connected. And so we have to look at personal growth as well. So I want to blaze through the 4th law. Some of you got an email from me 2 weeks ago. Last week was the Butch in costume. Here comes the judge. The week before that, we taught on the law of pain. That's like, has anybody ever prayed for patience? Pray for patience, and then what happens? Like you totally get everything that will make you not patient shows up in your life. We taught about the law of pain, and then like 2 days later, I thought, why did I ever teach about the law of pain? Because I faced a very, very difficult day right after, and was so grateful that we had just gone through this. Because while immediately my response was to turn into a big whiny baby, it didn't take long just a couple hours to remember everything we talked about in here and go, okay, wait a minute. I don't have a positive life here. I'm not adopting a learn something mentality and shift my head around real quickly and treat problems differently. That's why we face this, we go through this stuff, because it shows up in your life and your business. So the law of reflection. There is one thing that realtors don't do very often, and it's sit down and reflect. Do you guys feel that? Like you're just constantly moving? You know, it's one problem to the next problem, to the next excitement, to the next closing, to the next buyer. Even if it's all positive stuff, even just assume that everything's great. You're constantly moving. I joke about the fact that when I get home, I don't physically sit down for about 3 hours. If I sit down, I'm done. So I can't sit down. So as soon as I walk in the door, it's, okay, now it's continual movement. It's a different kind of movement because now it's family, you know, homework and how was your school and what do I need to sign and what are we cooking for dinner and where do we need to go, and it's still movement. There's not a lot of time for reflection. And what Maxwell tells us is that the law of reflection is really powerful, and it's one of the keys to personal growth. He says there's some kinds of growth that come to us only if we're willing to stop, pause, and allow the lessons to catch up with us. I know I'm super guilty of that. I don't stop and pause as much as I should. So I'm going to blow through this so we can get through everything. But basically he says there's a power in pausing. And here's what he tells us. He says, number one, reflection turns experience into insight. Have you ever heard this phrase, experience is the best teacher? Mm-hmm. He says that's kind of true, but not totally true. He says evaluated experience is the best teacher. What's the difference? Looking back and seeing what it was and what. Yep. I mean, because you can go through an experience and not learn a darn thing from it, right? Anybody have the friend that you watch make the same mistake over and over and over, and you go, why did you do it again? Why did you do it again? Why did you make that same choice again? Because they've had an experience, and it may have even been a tough experience, but they haven't stopped to evaluate it and go, okay, what did I learn from that? Or what did I not learn from that? There's an old joke that says experience is a hard teacher because the test is given first and the lesson is learned afterwards. Does that make sense? So you got to walk through the test first, and then you get to sit back and fall over the chair and learn the lesson. People have innumerable experiences every day, and many learn nothing from them because they never take the time to pause and reflect. That's why it's important to do that. Number two, everyone needs a time and a place to pause. You got to have a thinking spot. Does anybody have that? You don't have to share where it is, but does anybody have that place, that physical location where they can go and that's where they think and pause?
Isn't it the bathroom?
Huh? Kona? Do you have any place here? I mean, you've got to have, there's a reason why we close the doors to our office sometimes, right? There's a reason why sometimes we close it. We may not be even doing something physically. We may just need to think. And maybe that's your place to think and to pause. And to go, okay, what just happened this morning? What do I need to think about? Stopping to reflect is one of the most valuable activities people can do to grow. It has much greater value to them than even motivation or encouragement, because pausing allows them to make sure they're on the right track. After all, if someone is going down the wrong road, he doesn't need motivation to speed up. He needs to stop, reflect, and change course. You may not see it though if you're just traveling 100 miles an hour and never stop to look at the direction you're going, or what you're going through, or what you're experiencing. Most of us are super busy. We have these things in our life called life markers. You have moments that happen. When you look back, I think everybody in this room can look back on their life and say, this was a marking point. You know, where a significant change happened, or this happened in my life, and that was a big turn. I had this conversation with someone, and that really impacted me. And you may not even know it when you're in it, right? You're talking to someone, you're having a conversation. It may not be till weeks later that you look back and go, man, what they said to me was so powerful. It literally changed the trajectory of my life. We have those markers, but we won't see them if we don't stop and think. You guys, you know I know y'all know that I'm passionate about this because I talk about it all the time, but we don't teach We don't teach thinking skills anymore. We teach feeling skills to our kids, to each other as an adult. We talk about, you know,